words on TV, words for crooks, words for comfort.
Welcome to the world of Wordaholics. Yes, this is Wordaholics, where we know that guinea pigs aren't pigs and don't come from Guinea, India ink comes from China, turkeys come from North America, not Turkey, and blind worms aren't blind and aren't worms. They're legless lizards that can see. I'm Gyles Brandreth, and here are this week's verbivores, Jack Whitehall and Natalie Haynes, Susie Dent and Milton Jones. First of all, I want to test the water to find the exact levels of our panel's wordaholism. Of course, words can be beautiful and life-affirming, but some words have the power to shake us to our very souls. I still have flashbacks to the first time I heard that awful phrase, next on ITV1, Piers Morgan's Life Stories. I'd like to ask our guests which words they most dread hearing. I'm going to start with you, Jack Whitehall.
I don't like Americanisms because they get people into trouble. Like Cheryl Cole, who I'm a massive fan of, all of her work and output, she got fired from the American X Factor, and they said it's because they didn't understand her because of her Geordie voice, but that's not true. It's because of Americanisms, because there's some words that are different in America to they are in Newcastle. So like in America they say sidewalk, and in Newcastle they say path. In America, when it comes to sexual contraceptives, they use rubbers, and in Newcastle, they don't.
So all Americanisms, as far as you're concerned. Natalie, what word do you dread hearing?
I'm not a big fan of however. As in, dear Natalie Haynes, I'm usually a fan of your work. However... And I also, I think like quite a lot of people, I don't like the word boo, because I'm quite jumpy. I only didn't jump then because I was saying it. And to be honest, sometimes that would make me jump. I don't like it. I'm not having a nice time.
Susie Dent, in your role, Susie Dent, at Countdown, every day brings a new set of presenters. I mean, words. Do any words in particular fill you with dread?
One of the words that I really, really dreaded when I was little was lisp, because I had one. And then what a word to give somebody to explain their predicament if they've got one. And there are so many words in English like that, the overuse of long words. It's called sesquipedalian. And abbreviation is an incredibly long word. What else is there? Palindrome. Can you spell it backwards? No. So I have many pet hates like that, but lisp, I mean, honestly.
Lisp
that's what I said.
Is the word that annoys you most?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Susie. Milton Jones, any words that you dread hearing?
Comfort is a word I dread hearing. I mean, people like comfort food. Don't think much of the drink, though. It tastes like fabric softener to me.
So, it is time now for our first round. A letter of the week. And will you please welcome this week's letter of the week, the letter B. And here he comes, making a barnstorming entrance into the Wordaholics ring. The letter B. What a beast! Beefy, broad-shouldered, and with enough strength in his biceps to bring down a stampeding buffalo. Take a look at that impressive body. A straight back and two bulges brimming with braggadocio. Despite the size of those two bulges, the letter B has firmly denied using steroids. Believe that if you will. As far as I'm concerned, this bee is a raging bull. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please burst a blood vessel for the letter B? All right, Milton, the first bee-related question is for you. What is beggar's velvet?
If you see a beggar and you go towards him and he shows you the velvet of his gloves by bashing you, perhaps because you decided to show him your coin collection, or if he was saying big issue, you actually went over and gave him a bigger shoe. Or if you said to him, if I had £1 for every time I'd been asked for £1. Anyway, is it when he gets really annoyed with you?
No, it isn't. I'm going to give you a point for ingenuity. Anybody got any idea? Beggar's velvet. It's a 19th century term.
Could it be grass?
No.
That he sleeps on, though?
No, it isn't grass that he sleeps on. Very rural beggars you have. It's not really
I do.
little touch of countdown there.
Is it like the material that beggars use to make their sleeping bags in posh areas, like barns?
Well, almost getting there. And in fact, count down could be a clue. Ooh. Counting the down, beggar's velvet is a 19th century term for the downy particles which accumulate under furniture. You know the sort of thing? Dust, lint, offcuts from the blonde wig you use on Saturdays? Well, that's probably just me. Okay.
Sometimes I think you'll finish one of those clues with the words 3, 2, 1, dusty bin. And I know it's just happening in my head, but I really think it's going to happen.
Natalie, what does it mean to bung your eye?
Is it, if you have a glass eye, like, say, Columbo, and then you threw it at someone, for example, in the case of Columbo, a fleeing murderer, in order to try and stop them, like David and Goliath, but going just one more thing, thwack.
Yes?
Is it that?
You mean like Admiral Nelson might have done if he didn't like the show at the theatre?
Yeah.
Take it out and bung your eye.
Throw it, yeah, exactly.
Wee.
Is it that?
No.
Okay.
Susie Dent, you think you know?
Is it one of the thousands of euphemisms for being drunk?
It is one of the thousands of euphemisms for being drunk. You get 4 full points there. Well done. The phrase to bung your eye originates in the 18th century and means to get drunk, literally to drink until your eyes are bunged up or closed. I once had someone literally bung my eye when they managed to fire a champagne cork directly into it at the 5th attempt. Jack Whitehall, this one is for you. What does it mean to take Buggins' turn?
Is it like a person? Is there a man called Buggins?
There was a man called Buggins, yes, but...
What did he do?
We don't need to know the detail of his biography.
Oh, damn, because I brought it with me up here and all about Buggins.
It has a nautical connotation.
Buggins' turn.
Yeah.
Is it a seagull?
I think it might have been somebody who gets a turn at something, so gets promotion simply because they've been in their job for a very long time.
You spent too much time reading dictionaries, Susie Dent.
I do.
You've got it again. Another 4 points for you. You're sweeping into the lead. To take Buggins' turn was originally a nautical expression from the beginning of the 20th century, meaning to appoint people to positions based on rotation rather than actual merit. I believe it's the same method they used to appoint the Labour Party leaders. Where would you be, Susie, if you were behind the 8 ball?
Is it a sporting term?
It is a sporting term, well done. It's from America, from the 1930s.
Pool.
Pool!
Oh.
Pool it is!
Yeah.
Yes, not the place in Dorset, but the game they play in bars. I'm going to give you 3 points for that, no, because that really gets us to the heart of the matter. It refers to the game of pool. To be behind the 8 ball is to be...
In a winning position?
No, I remove a point there. It's actually to be in a losing position. You know, so,
But
yes.
now I'm in a losing position. Can I not have a point back for living the game?
There's one.
Oh, for living the game.
Come on!
Yeah,
I'm
live
living
the
the
game.
sport.
Absolutely. I'll give you an extra point there. Yeah, this comes from 1930s America and refers to the game of pool. To be behind the 8 ball is to be in trouble. And reminds me of my days in the whips office. We didn't used to play pool. We just used to carry some of the balls round in a sock. Time now for our second round. And the sound of bow bells reminds me that I must see the doctor about my tinnitus. But also that we're heading into the wonderful world of Cockney rhyming slang, which was invented purely to confuse non-Cockneys, a bit like EastEnders. Here are a few pieces of Cockney rhyming slang, ancient and modern. Let's see if our wordaholics can figure out what they mean. Jack, we'll start with you this time. Would you let me borrow your widow?
Like maybe borrowing like a Scottish widow? Because I have a Scottish widow that helps me around the house. She tidies up, does a bit of ironing, and helps me with my pension. So to borrow my Scottish widow, she would come over to your house and do the same. I think that's probably wrong.
Anybody else got an idea?
Widow Twanky Hanky.
Widow Twanky Hanky, Susie Dent.
Is that right?
Yeah, of course it's right. Congratulations. I did actually once blow my nose on a conveniently placed Widow Twanky, and I got thrown out of the London Palladium. Susie, How would you feel if I told you what nice Romans you had?
There were such things as Roman melons, actually. You better be careful. Once upon a time, Roman cantaloupes. Okay, what Roman...
What an extraordinary way you think my mind must work.
What can you have that's Roman? A Roman nose, toes?
Roman candle.
Roman candle, Natalie. Yes, you're there.
Roman Abramovich.
Sandal.
Sandal? Who said sandal?
I said sandal.
You said sandal, Jack Whitehall. You scored 3 whole points.
Yes.
Romans is short for Roman candles, which is slang for sandals. Milton, would you like me to call you a flounder?
Is that another name for a taxi?
How did you know that a flounder is a taxi?
I didn't. You said you'd like me to call you a flounder. So
Oh, gosh, you're quick.
lucky.
The audience here seem to know. Said altogether, flounder and... Flounder and dab. Thank you very much indeed. Rhyming slang for cab. Natalie, do you fancy a bit of holy?
Holy moly. Guacamole. Yes, I like guacamole. Is it guacamole? It's not guacamole.
No, it's not guacamole.
Holy Grail. Whale.
Any more to
Holy
help her out? Anybody can
Ghost.
chip in.
Holy Ghost toast?
Holy Ghost toast. Thank you, Susie Dent. Holy is short for Holy Ghost, meaning toast, which explains why I was baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the full English breakfast. Of course, there are new examples of Cockney rhyming slang being added to the parlance all the time. Modern additions include Anton Deck, check, or Susie Dent, lewd intent. Any of you want to suggest new rhyming slang? A point for each suggestion.
Simon Cowell, disembowel.
Two points for that one.
Luton pillage, Olympic village.
Luton pillage, Olympic village. Another 2 points, yes.
I think we should make Cockney rhyming slang out of you. Brandreth bandwidth? I'm not getting enough
Gyles Piles?
Brandreth.
I'm sticking with piles.
I'm sticking. Can I think Giles Piles? It cuts straight to the point. Frankly, you get a mark for piles and nothing for bandwidth. Over here, any more Cockney rhyming slang?
Network, rail, fail.
Milton Jones, you're using this programme as a political platform.
Oh, here's another one. Lionel Richie, itchy. You feel it on your... and you go, oh, hello.
So now it is time to check the scores, or as a Cockney would say, now it's time to check the scores. They don't always speak in slang. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Natalie, you and Jack have got, oh, not bad at all, 16 points. Milton and Susie, 43. Very impressive. Language is at its most useful when you need to get out of a tricky social situation and you haven't got any chloroform at hand. Our next round is called Not in So Many Words and is all about getting around a difficult subject with the power of language. So how would you tactfully tell a once loved one that you want to call time on the relationship?
I think amnesia is the way to go. So, for example, you just turn around and go, "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?"
Or you could write them a letter and say, normally I'm a fan of your work. However...
One of my favourite phrases that I believe was used on my father a long time ago was, "You can't warm up old porridge."
That's devastating.
Very mean. And another one I like is, if you want to say that something's afoot, you just say, "There are gazelles in the garden."
Meanwhile, I've moved on to somebody else.
Exactly.
There are
Just say
gazelles. Darling, it's all over. After 27 very happy years, there are gazelles in the garden.
The only other one I can think of going with is, "Darling, this is Jeff." It does look like you. A little younger, yeah.
You could sit her down and say, "Everyone that's single, stand up," and then I'd stand up. And after a while, she'd know.
Let's sweep on. Pastimes and occupations often develop their very own lexicon, unique to them. The next round is called Terms of the Trade, in which our wordaholics will be given a selection of words or phrases and have to figure out what kind of people might use them. For example, if I were to say sleight of hand, deceit, and misdirection, you would, of course, say the Pakistan cricket team. So, I'm going to ask our panel, fans of what pastime would use words like these?
Snake bite. Greedy pig rig. Bite alarm. Blood knot.
Is it the Beckhams thinking of names for their children?
Oh, that was worth getting up this morning. That was worth being born for. Honestly, that's wonderful. It was worth the Beckhams being born as well. The whole thing comes together beautifully. Okay, terms used in a particular sport.
Sailing?
Not
They have
sailing, but
knots.
water is involved.
Canoeing?
Are they not?
Drowning. Oh, no, that's
Yachting?
Not yachting.
Fishing.
Fishing?
Fishing, I don't know how they got that. So yes, these are all terms used in angling. A snake bite is a type of hook length, and hook length is material which is used to attach the hook to the fishing line, as opposed to a pint of cider and blackcurrant, which is an alcoholic drink used as bait to catch teenage fish who don't know any better. A greedy pig rig is a contraption that holds large pieces of bait to avoid catching smaller fish. A bite alarm is an electronic device that is set off when something takes the bait, and a blood knot is the basic knot used for attaching hooks. There! I got through a whole list of fishing terms without making a joke about my tackle. Terms of the trade, okay? Here's another selection of words and terms from a particular occupation. Who might use these?
Crutchings. Raddle. Wool blind. Sweat locks.
Farmers.
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 Yes, why do you say farmers?
Because they do a lot of weird stuff on farms. And
Looking for a particular type of farm.
sheeping, like sheeps. It's to do
Sheep
with
farming,
sheeps.
you're getting loads of points here, Jack. Well done,
Crutching,
proper points.
the wool,
Yep.
that sheep have that. They have a lot of that.
You do?
Raddles.
That's
Raddles.
something you do when you're weaving, casting.
Ah, you are scoring. Jack and Natalie, between you, you've got the whole thing. You're getting 5 points and another 5 for the bonus that you desperately need. The thing not to be a dent walkover. Yes. You're absolutely right. It's all to do with sheep farming and the collection and preparation of wool. Well done there.
That was pretty good.
It was pretty good. Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Crutchings are the bits of wool removed from the rear end, the crutch of sheep, and if the sheep have been rubbing their bottoms on bales, it's very much a case of crutching at straw. Sweatlocks are the short, greasy sections of wool from the inside of the legs, you know? And wool blind is a rather delightful term for when sheep has so much wool over its face it cannot see, you know?
Oh, I've got a hat like that. So it just comes down too low. Yeah. That's what I'm going to call myself.
I did some farming recently for a TV show. I went to a farm in Bristol, and it was quite strange. I had to go to the farmer's market as well, and it was like a real farmer's market, because there's one near me in Highgate, right, which is like not a real farmer's market. There's a woman there called Araminta, and she has all these cheeses, and she's always like, oh, what would you like today? We have this Gruyere from the Swiss Alps, or maybe you'll prefer this goat's cheese from the Tuscan valleys. I went to this farmer's market in Bristol. I picked up a bit of cheese and asked the man where it's from. He went, a farm!
Okay, on we sweep now. Like the face of the groom in Katie Price's wedding album, language is always changing. In our next round, entitled New Words for Old, I'm going to test our panel to see if they can figure out the meaning of some words that went out of fashion decades ago. And we're just waiting now for this week's guest dictionary to arrive. Thank you, Patrice. How lovely. Oh, it's that favourite of 18th century crooks, the 1736 Dictionary of Canting Slang. Canting, of course, being criminal activity, rather than what cockneys do when they recite the numbers 1 to 10. So, Susie Dent, you're our dictionary buff. From the 1736 Dictionary of Canting Slang, what is a buff napper?
Is it someone who likes to sleep in the nude? How are you spelling napper?
Napper is being spelled K-N-A-P-P-E-R.
Okay. There used to be something called buff lurking a very long time ago, which was kidnapping dogs.
You are so brilliant.
But that's not napping. Is the napping anything to do with kidnapping?
Yes, it is. You've got it in one. A buff napper is indeed a dog stealer, someone who steals and then sells on dogs. So you've got, I mean, we know you appear on Countdown in the corner as the bit of fluff, but what do you do by day?
I read this fantastic dictionary of the vulgar tongue that was published in 1811. That's my bedside reading at the moment.
Do you still work for the Oxford English Dictionary?
I do still work for them.
That is the point. You are by profession a dictionary reader. No wonder you're scoring so well. Milton Jones, the next one is for you. Going to Paddington Fair? Is it A, when children were made to play out in the street and make their own entertainment? B, to steal luggage that has been left unattended at stations? Or C, a public hanging?
Public hanging.
Yes, for what reason?
The train was late.
1736. Can you give me any more detail? I'm going to give you plenty of points there, of course. Paddington. Why is it called Paddington Fair?
Is that where they congregated to watch the hanging?
It is where they congregated. Where is Paddington near?
Gatwick Airport, see. Was it Heathrow? Heathrow.
Congratulations, Susie.
Yes.
Susie muttered under her breath, Tyburn. Going to Paddington Fair meant going to see an execution at Tyburn. Notable executions at Tyburn include Elizabeth Barton, who prophesied the death of Henry VIII, the posthumous hanging of Oliver Cromwell, and the execution of an abandoned bear accused of stealing marmalade. Natalie, a delightful sounding one for you. What does thumbikins mean?
I would very much like it to mean that people used to keep thumbs as pets and then called them in. Come on, thumbikins. But I think it probably isn't. It sounds a little bit like you're trying to make thumbscrews sound fun. If it says, shall we have some thumbikins?
Yeah, that is it. That is it, baby.
Shut up.
No. That's entirely it. In 1736, that's how they got their laughs. Thumbikins is actually a form of torture. Mostly used in Scotland, in which thumbs were squeezed, stretched, and crushed until a confession was forthcoming. It doesn't say that the person doing it then laughed, but the point is it was indeed a form of thumb torture. You score 4 points if you need it. In my view, the most brutal of all Scottish tortures is being forced to sit through an entire episode of Monarch of the Glen. Jackie has one for you. Who or what were bully ruffins? Bully ruffins.
Oh, God, I don't know.
A bully.
Can I have some clues?
Yeah, I'll give you three alternatives. It's A, highwaymen who swore and cursed at their victims. B, cattle rustlers. Or C, the French. This is an 18th century dictionary, remember? Political correctness had not necessarily been invented then.
Well, then it'll probably be the French. I think it's the French.
I fooled you with that little diversionary tactic. We're not necessarily that predictable. Okay, Susie, don't
I really don't know this one. I know bully used to be a term of endearment, so you'd say, my darling bully. But in Shakespeare, it was said with real fondness, but that doesn't fit the highwaymen, does it? What was B? What was the...
B was cattle rustlers. A was highwaymen who swore and cursed at their victims. C were the French. It's not the French.
It's the highwaymen.
Correct.
Definitely.
Excellent. Well done.
Well done.
And because it took you 10 minutes, you get 10 points. You score there, well done. The Canting Dictionary defines bully ruffins as highwaymen who attack with oaths and curses, plunder without mercy, and frequently murder without necessity. These days, we define such people as estate agents. Now, one for anyone to have a go at. What was a tickle pitcher? Was it A, someone who avoided arrest by tickling the policeman and making their escape? B, a particularly lewd man or woman? Or C, a pickpocket?
C. Yeah.
And
Surely
you're going for a pickpocket, Natalie. Why?
Because A seems implausible to me, Giles. I don't think people ever got away from the police by tickling them. Not one time. I don't think that has ever happened in the history of the police.
Did you never hear of the song, The Laughing Policeman?
I blank it out because it annoys me.
When I was a child, we were brought up on it. Saturday morning.
They should have given you food, Giles. That would have been kind.
A pickpocket is not the right answer.
B.
So it's going to be B. Who says B and why? Milton?
Because Susie said it. Must be that.
A tickle pitcher is defined in the dictionary here as a tosspot.
Ooh.
Or pot companion. Or in other words, a drinking companion, a lewd man or woman.
The drinking bit is right. Yes, tosspot was somebody who literally tossed their pot down their throat.
Yeah.
originally. Okay.
I always like to have a pot companion whenever I'm smoking the blunts with my crew. Now I'll have to be careful when I say this, but who or what were buckfitches? This is from a canting dictionary of yesteryear. Were buckfitches either A, lecherous old men, B, people who steal rabbits, or C, the French?
People who steal rabbits.
French people that steal rabbits.
It can't be another lascivious man, can it?
It can be another lascivious man. Congratulations, Susie Dent, 4 more points. Well done. Buckfitches are defined as old lecherous fellows, hence the old rhyme, keep the buckfitches away from your breeches. It's a shame Ronnie Barker couldn't be with us tonight. And look, that cacophony of colloquialisms brings us to the end of the show, and looking at the scoreboard, I can see that this week's winners are, surprise, surprise, with 72 points, Milton Jones and Susie Dent. In a word, Susie, can you describe the experience of Wordaholics?
Okay, I'm going to do it in countdown style. You have to work this one out. Giles rant round flew.
Giles rant round flew.
That means strangely wonderful.
Strangely wonderful. That's charming. Were there bonuses after the score was in? You'd get one now. Milton, in a word, how does it feel?
Goosebumps. The last time I had goosebumps was when I dressed up as a goose and told some other geese it was my birthday.
Natalie Haynes and Jack Whitehall, you are our losers. I'm not sharing the score with you, but I'll give it to you in a brown envelope later. You certainly came second.
Thanks.
In a word, what's the Wordaholics experience for you, Natalie?
I think this Wordaholics experience has been more lascivious than normal. It seems like every answer has basically been someone lascivious. So, lascivious.
Lascivious. And since you're sitting next to Jack, what's the word been for you?
Well, as it's B, the letter of the week, I thought, and you've been fantastic for the whole show, but I've got to the end of it, and this is the only panel show I ever come on where I feel positively butch. So I'm going to go with butch.
You're a real sweetie. Thank you. That's lovely.
Stop it.
And that brings us to the end of this week's Wordaholics. So a final round of applause for our wordsmiths, Jack Whitehall, Natalie Haynes, Susie Dent, and Milton Jones. Till next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to Wordaholics, chaired by Gyles Brandreth. The reader is Tracy Wiles. It's written by John Hunter and James Kettle, and the producer is Claire Jones.